Live for the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Welcome, race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where we are set to duke it out once again around the biggest, the baddest track of the NASCAR calendar. This is the Aaron's 200 in the SRA NasClassic Series. My name is Lorenzo alongside George Kirafides. We are bringing you all of racing action from start to finish on this Saturday afternoon. George, it is, of course, a trip into the second half of the season, and what a season it has been so far, and, well, a season that is still nowhere near its conclusion, although we are starting to work ourselves further and further into the closing stages of this championship.
Yep, and this race, a very big race for a lot of people, just because, you know, super speedways are considered on the surface a very relatively calm and easy track to get yourself on. So we could see a brand new winner who has come out of the, or who can come out of the woodworks from nowhere, who hasn't shown up maybe the past couple of weeks, or who's not really great at shorter tracks and intermediates. So this is anybody's race from the start.
Well, easy, yes. Calm, I think anything but. I mean, Talladega is known for the wild nature of this race. I think the rule of no 3 wide per lap 17 may very well help out these drivers this afternoon. But before we get to all of that, your championship standings entering racing action here this afternoon. Zane Bailey stands atop the boards with Dalton Kilroe just 11 points out. Paul Witt also still in the mix, and it is looking like it's a 3-horse race for this championship with Jasper Crawford almost 60 points out for the points leaders at this point.
I mean, don't count anybody out quite yet. As we just reached the second half of the season, there's always a chance for, you know, these guys in 4th and 5th and even 6th to potentially make a little bit of a comeback, but it all relies on consistency of the driver, or of yourself, and the inconsistencies of the drivers in front of you.
Well, the field is looking set to rumble out this afternoon. In terms of weather conditions, well, it's looking to be a very hot track out there. 118 degrees Fahrenheit, minimal air, thankfully. Only about 2 miles an hour blowing off to the southeast, 81 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, and 118 down to the track. But is that hot track temp enough to really impact these ARCA cars flying around this place at over 180 miles an hour?
You know, I've never seen anything, especially with, you know, super speedways, your tires really don't matter. You will have to take tires eventually, you know, just to get a bit more grip on the track, but super speedways, you're more focused on saving fuel to try to get yourself around as many laps and to try to stay with a pack as well, because if you lose that pack and you're not in draft, you can call your race over.
Well, with all that said and done, the field is just moments away from rolling on out. You got 30 cars that are all anticipated, that all attempted to qualify this afternoon, but of course not all of them will be making the starting grid this afternoon. I think I'm expecting maybe around 25, 26 total to take to the racetrack. 75 laps, though, ahead of us in just a little while, and I think we are almost at the point where we could close things out, but championship-wise, I mean, this race not nearly, it's not like we're in the second to last race, right? But it doesn't mean this one still can't be a major impact.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, with how unpredictable races at this track are, and, you know, how many wrecks you see, you could be the best driver ever at Talladega and still be involved in a wreck that could take you really bad, or that could take you down really bad in points. Like, you know, we have Zane Bailey in the points lead and Dalton Kilroe. Dalton Kilroe could, you know, have a great finish, and Zane Bailey could finish really bad, and they'll probably flip-flop in points.
It is extremely possible to see that flip-flop in the points, and we'll see if that will indeed change throughout the course of the afternoon. And, well, with all of that said and done, it's about high time we take a rundown on what the official starting grid is going to look like here this afternoon. So starting on pole position with us here on this fantastic Saturday night, it is going to be Jim Duda alongside his son Jared. They will start 1 and 2 on the front row of the grid. Row number 3 holds Zane Bailey. Row 2 of the grid get the whole third place runner Zane Bailey, the current points leader, alongside Thomas Lane Jr. for Team SRA. From there, Paul Witt is back in 5th alongside William McKellar IV. McKellar made his season debut just last week. Unfortunately, did not go his way. He is looking for more this afternoon. Mike Campbell and James Yerger bring it up in 7th and 8th, and from there, closing up the top 10 is Aaron Raymond and Noah Swafford. Row 6. Going to hold Cody Gibson and Michael Gudger in 11th and 12th. From there, Mark Arthur and Brian Zimmerman bring it up in 13th and 14th. Ryan Wayne and Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez will run 15th and 16th, 17th and 18th. It's Joshua Burke and Bruce Dudley. Closing out the top 20 this afternoon going to be Aaron May, the last car to put down a qualifying lap alongside Dalton Kilroe. From there, it'll be Tanner Marr and Kyle Wellman, Liben Van Leer and Zachary Mertz, Jeff Gilmore and Jasper Crawford, Larry Bell and Kyle Berard. And closing out the tail of the field is going to be Kevin Roy and Jim Coleman'sberger. So 30 potential cars set to roll out this afternoon. Waiting on 4 to grid on up before we kick off racing action this afternoon. And boy, tell you what, I am excited about it.
Oh, I'm very excited about this race. This race is going to have some insane racing, even more probably insane crashes, and will end off, I think, relatively well.
Well, the field is going to get set to roll on out in just a little while here. Still waiting on the last car to fully take to the starting grid here this afternoon. And officially, Bruce Dudley, Liben Van Leer, Jeff Gilmore, all going to miss the call. Never mind, Dudley actually gets onto the racetrack just in the nick of time, but it will be Van Leer and Gilmore who will miss the call, as everyone else is going to have to make their way on down to pit road. You see some cars pulling to the inside. That is the likes of Aaron Raymond along with Cody Gibson. They are being sent to the tail of the field for incidents that they obtained last week. So in the meantime, the field going to work their way around through turn numbers 1 and 2. Tell you what, both Dudas starting 1 and 2 on the grid, and that is a dangerous combo for anybody, right? When you get those familial ties linking up at a super speedway like this. If you got 2 drivers like this that are both aggressive, you can have a pair that could be nigh unstoppable.
Yeah, that's another major thing for drivers at super speedways. You want to have teammates, and you know, I know that guys like Bruce Dudley, Liben Van Leer, Zach Mers, and Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez are all working together tonight. So look for them as well to potentially make a push to the front if they can get up there. But yeah, the Dudas are also, you know, if they can get help from behind as well, oh man, this is going to be a great race for teammates.
Well, we're working our way into turn numbers 3 and 4. George, right out of the gate, what do you think? Anybody in particular catching your eyes, one to watch out for?
Oh, my original race pick was Liben Van Leer, but he didn't take the call. So I'm interested to see if he can claw his way back. But right now, I think Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez could have a chance to win it.
Gonzalez, of course, situated back in the midfield, but he would be far from the first driver that we saw be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat at a track like Talladega. The field going to work their way into turn numbers 3 and 4. And we're happy you're joining us for racing action here on this fantastic Saturday night. Green flag is up in the air. It's go, go, go in Alabama! Pulling up to the top side is Noah Swafford, fading to the rear of the field. They will go 3 wide for a moment, but that is legal, provided you find yourself towards the tail of the field. Bruce Dudley going to be forced into pit road. That is no surprise. Dudley, of course, had to start his race in pit road, and remember, he also has a black flag to serve because he racked up 4 penalty points in last week's action. Leading the way at the end of lap number 1 is going to be Jared Duda alongside Thomas Lane Jr. up top.
Right now, for the next 17 laps, I think these two are just worried about controlling both lines. before they can go 3 wide, because then that's where everybody's really going to start getting aggressive and trying to make their moves. But right here, for the next, 17, 20 laps, they'll start to, they'll just have to control these 2 lines.
So Jared and Jim side by side as they work their way through turn numbers 3 and 4. No separation so far throughout the pack, save for James Yerger, who is all the way at the tail of the field at the number 19 after he had to start his race from pit road. Otherwise, outside of both him and Bruce Dudley, everybody else running down in the turn numbers 1 and 2, all in one big paddle back, 26 cars strong. 30 cars were slated to start, and 28 currently circulate the racetrack. So Thomas Lane Jr. continuing to make his run up top, while Jim Duda going to help out his son Jared from the bottom side of the racetrack. Again, no 3 wide permitted until the 17th lap of this race. While normally that means a very tame opening segment, that was not the case at the last Superspeedway race we ran at the top of the season back at Daytona. So there is a pretty significant chance that drivers get caught out by that. And hey, people got caught out by it. We ended up crashing despite being only 2 wide at Daytona earlier in the season. Not something you want to really play around with. Second pack started the format here as well. Tanner Lamar, Mark Arthur, and co. have lost touch of the leaders. They're now 9/10ths back.
And you also look, even though it's 2 wide, anything could happen. Just because so many guys are trying to move in between lines, they could hit each other while they're moving in between lines, and chaos will ensue after that.
Right on board with Mark Arthur for a little while there, while other drivers are fading through the field. William McKellar, the 4th, dropping back quickly in this one. While up front, it is still the Jared and Jim Duda dynasty that leads the way. Already nearly 5 laps in the books. The laps tick by quickly. If you go by with a lot of green flag racing. And those pit stop windows have a tendency to sneak up on you as well.
Seems like the high line started to die out a little bit. Now more guys are going up there, but even so, it doesn't look like the high line is very powerful at this track. It seems like the low line is just taking a huge advantage. High line's about maybe 5 cars back to the low line right now. Another thing these drivers got to worry about is overheating in these cars is extremely easy. So if you're on somebody's bumper for way too long, you could suffer a blown engine just because these cars overheat way too easily.
Yeah, never one you want to keep your eyes off of for too long. That water temp can really creep up on you. And Thomas Lane Jr., no doubt, monitoring that closely as he pushes the Superspeedway guru that is Paul Witt to the front of the field. Of course, Paul Witt has taken many race wins at the Superspeedways across his SRA career. And this one looking to be another pretty sizable one. He's got good odds to win. Honestly, if it weren't one of the dudes, I would pick Paul Witt to potentially win this race. He just knows where to put that car at exactly the right time.
That's all you need to know Superspeedways. You just need, people say that Superspeedways are the easiest thing to race. Not really. You still have to learn a little bit. You have to learn, how to push, when to push, where to move, where the faster line's going, just to try to get yourself out front. Just to win a race, it's not an easy feat winning a race at a Superspeedway. So it's a lot of learning that goes into it.
So Duda, Bailey, Campbell, and Moore all firing it out as they rocket down the back straightaway and towards turn 3. Overall, a very solid outing so far and a clean opening salvo of laps, but how long will that remain the case?
Wonderful to see green flag pit stops before lap 17. I don't think so. I think maybe the field is like 25 laps, I would guess. So there's a chance that we do see green flag pit stops.
Two by down the Alabama Gang super stretch. And you see Tanner Marr in his field, deeper in the field now. Critically, Marr, Arthur, Gibson, and Moore, they have not really lost much ground on the leaders. They have been keeping them honest, and they haven't been dropping too much. So one lucky caution, or hell, even a good pit stop, right? These guys could be very much right back up in the mix.
Well, yeah, with the way these cars side draft, you know, running single file like this is definitely the way to go to try to catch up, back up to a pack, especially since they're running, you know, too wide side by side. They may be slowing each other down up front, leading to, you know, Tanner Marr and crew coming up and being able to catch up to them and potentially getting a huge run.
Now the run's never one you want to underestimate here, as well, the Duda dynasty continues its strong push at the very head of the field. Bailey and Paul Witt, the primary pushers. Mike Campbell also in the mix. And don't discount folks like Thomas Lane Jr. up on the high side as well.
Very much a Ford front end currently. Both the lines are being led by 3 rows back of Fords. Now maybe 4 rows back of Fords.
And Paul Witt gonna move to the outside as Jim Duda going to play defense here. He's gonna push Jared Duda for the first time. A non-Duda driver leads the way as Paul Witt clears in front of Jared. But he will not lead the lap as Thomas Lane Jr. gonna go to the front with the aero push from Aaron May. So Thomas Lane Jr. leads his first lap of the night. As they work their way down the back straightaway, still got James Yerger along with Bruce Dudley. They have managed to link up together, so they're not losing as much time as they will be running single file, but still losing time to the leaders. They are right now about a second a lap slower than everyone else behind them.
Definitely say sooner or later you want a caution if you're Bruce Dudley. Just because, you know, you do not want to get lapped at a super speedway under green. You'd rather just, you know, come back under caution, link up with the back of the pack again and try to, you know, ease your way through.
Three wide permitted in about 4.5 laps. There you see Aaron May chopping down across Thomas Lane Jr. Sorry, chopping across with Thomas Lane Jr. to cut off Paul Witt. And that now going to leave Ryan Wayne as the driver to lead the outside. And with more drivers starting to migrate to the bottom, you have to imagine pit stops not too far away. I'm willing to bet within the next 10 laps or so.
100%. I feel they're getting ready to come in. You know, I don't think you know, everybody will come in at the same time, but I think they'll come in different stages, but they will come in packs. That's the most important thing, you know, to come in as, especially at a super speedway. You got to come in a pack. If you go in alone and come out alone, you're going to lose so much time. I have a feeling that second pack will come in all together, and they may come in a lap after the lead pack if the lead pack is not stretching their fuel all the way.
So far, Kevin Roy, Jim Colmansberger, the two drivers that have gained the most so far today, up 27 and 26 spots respectively in the KNZ Sim Sports number 7 entry. Jumping up to the outside line with Ryan Wayne down on the inside. Colmansberger running third, Thomason Jr. in fourth. Raymond, May, fifth and sixth. 3 wide allowed in just 2.5 laps.
I think the 69th Tanner Moore is caught up to the rest of the field. It seems like that pack is finally caught up to the rest of the field.
In fact, not only have they caught up to the field, but Cody Gibson, the driver of the number 1 in the middle of that field, has just set the fastest lap of the race that last time by with a 49.971. The only driver to put down a 49-second lap so far. In fact, one of only two. The only other driver that's done it is Kyle Wellman behind him. Going to 49.993.
Seems like running single file for them worked out very well because they're able to get up relatively fast. I mean, the gap a couple laps ago versus the gap now, they've closed it, and they've been running relatively fast laps. That really shows, you know, what side draft, what that high line here does, as everybody seems to be jumping to the low lines, making me believe that pit stops are coming very, very soon.
Likely imminent. There you see Aaron Raymond up top with Noah Swafford. Oh boy, Swafford trying to shove his teammate clear. William McKellar trying to do the same. McKellar hung out to dry as Swafford and Raymond going to clear themselves down low. And will we see anybody ducking pit road this time by? Oh, I thought maybe a couple were thinking about it, but they decided not to. Both Dudas have since migrated to the top shelf, as has Paul Witt. So that 4-car tandem trying to make their way back to the point. 3 wide, now on the cards. So Raymond continues to lead the way. Swafford second, Colmansberger third, McKellar up top, leading the pack of 4. And slowly but surely, they are inching themselves closer and closer to the head of the field here. Still no one coming to pit road, not yet. But they're definitely ready for it when the time comes.
Everybody's just planning their strategies wisely, as you know, it's imminent now at this point that we see everybody, almost everybody except for the 4 cars that are up here on the bottom line, just playing follow the leader. But nobody's called into pit yet. So I'm interested to see if they have about like 25 laps of fuel and they're going in maybe 22 or 23, trying to cut it to the last bit of fuel they have, or will they play follow the leader and go in on lap 20 or 21?
Yeah, nothing doing so far. As no drivers opt to come down to pit road yet. But we have gotten both of the Dudas cutting to the inside line, usually another good indicator that they want to get down. Paul Witt has just done the same. McKellar all by himself, but Witt's going to lift and let McKellar get in line. So good sportsmanship there from Paul Witt to not block out McKellar. Lifted just a touch, just enough to give the 75 a hole to get down and in line with the others.
Now on the outside line. I don't know what he was doing. It seemed like he called into pit, but I don't know if he's trying to find a teammate or what coming out of this. I'm interested to see who goes in and who doesn't.
No one in this time by. We remain running on the racetrack. Upwards of 185 miles an hour, which is over 300 kilometers an hour at the ends of the straights. Oh boy, Jared Duda kind of playing with fire there, ducked out of line, thought somebody might go with him, no one did. And when he cut back in line, he nearly turned himself across the nose of Ryan Wayne.
If you look a little bit ahead over here, there's 3 cars that are coming up. The leaders are coming up on lap traffic, and there's 3 cars ahead of them. I don't know who they are, but see 3 cars up there.
That is Yerger. That is Dudley. That is also going to be Jeff Gilmore. All in a line. Those are all cars that had the misfortune. 2 of them starting the race from pit road. 1 of them just missed the call and is down by 13 laps. Still, we got drivers sticking in line. I do want to point out, lap times have dropped considerably. I think we're in fuel-saving mode here right now. We're running about 1.6, 1.7 seconds a lap slower than the fastest laps of the day. So the pace has been dropping down.
I think if fuel lasts 25 laps, they would have to pit it a minimum of 4 times. Just because, you know, you need that little bit of fuel towards the end, just in case there's a green-white checkered. So I see them pitting about 4 times during this race.
Well,
or
if they
3 times trying to stretch it.
Well, if they could make it to 25, they could do it on 2 if we go caution-free. 25 and 50, they could go to the end. They might be trying to push it to 25 and cut out the splash and go at the end. Lap times drop off even further. For reference, fastest lap of the race for Kevin Roy was the 50.4. His last lap of 51.9. The lap times are tumbling. Some drivers are into the 52s. We're fuel saving here. That's why we see nobody trying to pass each other.
24 of Joshua Burke has gone into the pits as well. It seems like his strategy had him coming in relatively early.
First 4 coming to the pit road. That is Aaron Raymond, Jim Colwinsberger, Noah Swafford, and Kevin Roy. All to the pit road. Only the top 4, or only 4 drivers out of the top 10. Everyone else has stayed out. So they're going to make their way back out on the racetrack in fuel only or tires for everyone in this field. As the
I have a feeling they're definitely trying to cut it to 2 stops.
Oh yeah, for sure. The problem is I don't think they've been able to do it. They're going to have to go even longer on their second stint, and I don't think that's viable. Some drivers staying out. Pretty much the entire field, though, is in. Top 4 are going to stay out. So Wayne, Campbell, Crawford, and Berard stay out. Everyone from 5th on down is in. Pit road, the busiest it's likely going to be all race long. As Jared Duda makes his way into the box. It's a long time to be sitting in pit road when you're under green, right? It's nerve-wracking because you know you got to try to get out with everyone around you. You don't want to get out too far, don't want to get out too soon. Both Dudas will lead the way out of pit road. Paul Witt and Zane Bailey trying to go on offense, though. And they might actually split them up. They have split them up. That is critical for both of the Doodogs.
So 2 big things when pitting at Superspeedways under green. It's, you know, try to get into your pit box and don't miss it. And when you're getting out, you got to get up to speed just to catch the guys in front of you. You cannot create huge gaps. And I know I've had those problems when I've raced. You know, I've lost the pack just because I've had a slow exit.
And in fact, there is Aaron Raymond up on the top side with Jim Coleman'sberger and Kevin Roy along with Noah Swalford. They did not miss the field. They all had good pit stops. So they are now back out and cruising around this racetrack critically here. Very critical information, by the way. Crawford and Campbell have hit the number to make it on 2 if we go green. They'd have to fuel save, but it is possible. This is a viable strategy if we don't get a caution.
Could be a very smart strategy too, especially because you cut down the, you know, they could also save the guys who just came in, like Raymond, or no, it was Raymond. I lost it. Ryan Wayne and whoever came in with him also have a chance if they can save enough to make it on 2 stops.
Jasper Crawford, 13 seconds in the box. That's a pretty slow stop for fuel only. And Campbell is the same. So they're going to make their way back out onto the racetrack, but they will miss the field, who's going to just blow right by him. So first run of stops is complete. And we are also a third of the way through this race. Jared Duda, Paul Witt, Aaron Raymond continuing to lead the way as we work through 1st through 9th. Ryan Wayne runs back in 10th. And everyone else situated just a little ways back. Dalton Kilrow here in the fray as he tries to claw his way back. Kilrow has had a lot of success this last little while. And why not? We're at a point now in the season where it might be wise to kind of keep tabs on the championship order here. So you can take a look at the standings, and in fact, we'll increase this to the top 10 in the points. You can see how things have shifted. These are the live standings that you're seeing there. And in fact, Jared Duda gets swallowed up in the middle. Right now, Zane Bailey on top and extending the lead with his 7th place run. How about Ryan Wayne? Got linked up with Thomas Lane Jr. that's ripped to the front of the field.
That second pack, you know, they got that big run because they were, just like before, they were able to get a big run in slingshot. Now we have a big pack, which usually you don't see after pit stops. But now, this is where it's going to get interesting, and this is where we'll see a little bit of who wants to take it 3 wide to potentially, you know, start a run down the middle. Now, I would think that 3 wide you would only see in the third stage, or well, in the third half, or the second half of this race when it's crunch time and everybody's trying to win. But we can see it now too.
So Witt and Raymond continuing to make tracks, while the rest of the pack starts to close on up. Few drivers have lost the tail end. Those drivers being Mike Campbell, Zachary Mertz, Kyle Berard, and Jasper Crawford. We are still running about a second lap slower than some of the fastest times of the night, which says we are still very much in a mode where drivers are saving a little bit of fuel.
Well, yeah, a lot of these guys, including Aaron Raymond, came in early. So the one big thing that matters is saving enough fuel to not have to go into the pits that third time, because that's going to kill a lot of momentum that these drivers have, especially if they're running up front, because some drivers may not have to take that third pit stop. And if this race goes green, who knows? You may find yourself going a lap down or just being so far away from the pack.
Well, and here's the thing, right? That little moment of even having to fill up just an extra lap or two of fuel if you do have to take that third stint, right? Let's say everyone needs this third stop just for the sake of it. If you get a driver that's able to go like 2 laps longer on fuel, take 2 laps less in the pits, that may only be about a couple tenths. That is equal to seconds out on the racetrack.
Especially since it's not just the time you're in your pit box getting fuel and everything, it's the time you're going through pit road. And that is a wild, because you're sitting at maybe 60 miles an hour the whole way through, stopping in your pit box, waiting that however many seconds you need for the fuel to go in, and then accelerating back out to 60 miles an hour until you can get to the end of pit road, and trying not to speed, because if you speed, black flag, your race is over.
Oh, absolutely, and we've seen how much a black flag can cripple a driver. Look at Bruce Dudley, right? Had to start from pit road to serve a black flag right out of the gate. He is stuck a lap down, and there's no problems to get it back. In fact, at danger of going down 2 here. Joshua Burke, right now, one of the last ones on the lap. He's about to go a lap down. James Yerger is in danger of going a lap down, and Brian Zimmerman about half a lap back and can't do anything. That is the result of poorly timed pit strategy. That's why the most important thing, like I mentioned before, super speedway skills are not just, track skills. It's how to manage your fuel correctly, because unlike short tracks and intermediates, you're not going to be able to get your time back that easily, because if somebody else pits before you and they're in a pack and you're not, you're losing so much time because they're in draft and you're not. So you're basically slower, and you would have to rely on cautions, which, may never happen. 3 wide, just behind. Actually, I think our first proper 3 wide moment of the race, and Kevin Roy getting pushed up towards the outside wall. Put in contact there with Gonzalez in the middle. We're able to gather it up, but they're starting to build a run here. Look at that middle line starting to open up here. And that is due to lap traffic up top.
That big gap between Paul Witt and Aaron Raymond isn't going to help that bottom line at all. And that allows the top line to just come right back down and settle themselves onto the bottom line. And now, if you're Paul Witt, you were just leading, and now you've gone back to 5th place.
Approaching the halfway point of this race as well, with not much in it before. We will take over into the second half. Oh boy, the 44 of Gonzalez. Thinking about that third lane, but Aaron May remains the driver that he sticks with, and now he almost makes contact with Coleman'sberger. All of this while Ryan Wayne continues to log laps.
These cars are very aero-finicky, I like to call it. When you're next to somebody, you could feel when the arrow's pushing you out from the side. When you're very close to somebody, you could feel the arrow pushing you out, just because when you're racing so close to each other, you could feel the air when you tighten it into a little bit of like a hole. When you're side drafting off of somebody, it's like it's trapping the air inside there, and it starts to kind of bounce you around. It's a very strange feeling, and you would have to be in the car to feel it, but a lot of these drivers having to deal with that now.
So for the first time, Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez going to lead laps for the Talladega Superspeedway. Kevin Roy trying to disrupt the run. As Gonzalez having some momentary technical flashes up at the head of the field. Right now, James Yerger in the 19. The first driver that's got the lucky dog free pass. And well, you might wonder, well, Bruce Dudley is ahead of him. Why doesn't Dudley get the lucky dog? Well, he's 2 laps down. Yerger's only 1.
That's what those penalties are supposed to do to you. They're basically meant to tell you, well, this is what's going to happen if you race and you cause stuff. Look where you'll end up.
Halfway home this time by 37 laps down, 38 to go. So, not 10. I mean, we could call it halfway on a technicality, I guess, of it being an odd number of laps. But yet again, more drivers starting to fade to the bottom as we are 10 laps or less away from pit stops.
I'd say the pit window will open up around lap 45 and will close around lap 50, just based on when these guys went in and pitted.
And all of this without a caution flag in sight. A rarity for the NasClassic series. And I think this is actually the first time this season where we've made it to the halfway point without a yellow flag. James Yerger drops in line, leaves Joshua Burke out to dry. And that was strategic there from Yerger because Burke, he does not want Burke at all to be able to take the lucky dog free pass from him. There's not much help in there until Paul Witt can get there. He's going to have a little buffer zone to work with.
And a very smart move by Kevin Roy, staying behind the 48, taking the draft and saving fuel while he's leading, the race. Just because, if you want to save fuel as the leader, you can't really do it that much when you're leading the pack and you have clear field ahead of you. So when you're behind that 48 of Bruce Dudley, you have a very good chance as Zach Merz is coming down pit road.
And he has got a black flag as well, so Zachary Merz with problems. And in fact, is that damage on the left front, or right front there?
Seems like it. It seems like he had nose damage as well, so I'm wondering what could have happened. I mean,
well, back this up a little bit here. Oh my goodness! He just went straight on into turn 3. Straight on into 3 and then made his way down the racetrack. Started to slow. Just didn't slow down nearly quick enough. And got caught for speeding, but that is a strange incident down to the turn numbers. He already had damage from before. Back this up even further here. Even here he has damage. What in the world has happened to Zachary Merz? Right here. This is where it comes from. Coming around 3 and 4. And he just goes straight on into turn 4. I don't understand it. And then hit the wall a few more times.
I mean, he'll definitely send me a DM and tell me what happened so I could explain it. But for now, it's we don't know what happened. It's a mystery.
No kidding. Strange one, that.
Very.
Well, our first real crash of the day, and it's by far one of the strangest incidents we've seen all season. of this,
Had that happen.
all of this while we are approaching about the 20th lap that some of the long runners have distinctive been on. And nearly time to hit pit road once more. Lap times have again dropped into the 52s.
Looking like he wants to unlap himself just right here and just kind of plop himself in front of the 7 to see if there's a chance that he can just unlap and not have to deal with the lucky dog. Now we see top line starting to form.
Yeah, that top lane starting to form up as Yerger swapping to Moore going up high.
He just scrubbed the wall a little bit. Or, I'm sorry, Aaron Raymond just scrubbed the wall a little bit. Well, I do have news on the Zachary Murr situation. He was on his phone.
Oh boy, don't text and drive. That's a lesson he's learned the hard way, I feel.
What a run to the front by that top line. Lap traffic ahead as well.
Oh, there we go. Cars starting to make their way down to the pits. James Yerger. Holy cow. Oh, never mind. I don't think Yerger meant to do that as he is all the way into the grass. Cutting back out to the racetrack. Don't think that was intentional from Yerger. Got close with Aaron Raymond. This is a lap car, remember. Oh, sorry. This is the lap prior. We'll try again. Right behind Raymond. Tried to clear himself across the nose of the 44. Went awry. And he cut across the cone. That'll give you a penalty.
Well, trying to get his lap back now, that's going to set him back a little bit more as well.
Oh, yeah, it will.
Everybody's single file, so really looking to see now that pit window's kind of open, so who will be the first ones to go down pit road?
That's the big question right now, is who makes that first trip. No one coming in yet. Oh, Mike Campbell with big problems. Campbell with a major problem. And look at how much that front has been ripped apart with the driver, the number 46. So a big mess happening here. This is coming down. Oh, no! Big snap with Dalton Kilroy hard into the wall. And Gibson just barely gets around him. Take one more look. Right on board here with Cody Gibson. And look at how close he came to getting involved in this, George.
Man, that could have been worse than it was.
Yeah, right. Another good avoidance. And now we got cars coming down to pit road. Cole Winsberger and Roy are the first two down. Mike Campbell down low on the racetrack after getting his car repaired will make his way back out to the racetrack. While Swaffer now leads the way. Here comes Swafford, Raymond, Gonzalez, and Berard all to the pit road for the next bunch. So drivers up, drivers down, drivers away. Now we see Aaron May, Ryan Wayne, and Thomas Lane Jr. all into the pits.
We're gonna have to go about one more lap in this main pack just to get to the end without having to get another pit stop. I don't know about these four though. It's gonna be close.
Well, they're more coming in groups of 3 to 4. They're not coming in with full bunches like we're used to seeing. As the field continues to run around this racetrack, we got 25 laps to go. Here comes Paul Witt coming down to the lane. He's got a few coming with him, but they are all separated to the back. It might be a tall order for him to get linked up with them. He comes down with Bell, Gibson, and Wellman. While McKellar leads the way. George, are you taking tires on this stop? I've seen a lot of guys only taking 12-second stop, so guessing 2 tires for a good chunk of the field.
I don't know if I would take tires unless the track is really ripping them apart. But if the track was ripping them apart and I started to feel like I was losing grip, 2 tires seems like the safe option.
Here comes a big chunk of them. McKellar, Jim Duda, Jared Duda are in. Tanamar close to the inside wall. Gudger is in there as well. Arthur is in there. Kilrow is in the mix. And Kilrow, in fact, going to try to get right to the back bumper of Mark Arthur as they come down to pit road. And now the trio of Dudas are in as well in the mix of all of this with Zane Bailey. And McKellar going to win the race off pit road and may very well retain the net race lead.
Jim Duda just got spun at pit road.
Oh dear. And that'll bring out a caution flag. Caution is out for the first time tonight. As the field scrambles to avoid. And the 53 entry hooked and turned down a pit road, and Yerger has to pedal to avoid Aaron May. Crabbing with big damage. He has likely been collected in the mix as well. So we'll find Jim Duda. There he is. Just making his way on out. Watch for Aaron May somewhere in the fray. While Jim's going to try to get up to speed. Marr trying to go for the pass. Duda comes up and just turns himself right across the nose of Aaron Raymond. Down, and there he just nails Aaron May. A big hit into the outside wall for Ryan Wayne as well. And that fell apart in a hurry.
Very bad for Aaron Raymond there. He was so close to having his race ended by Jim Duda's spinning car.
This is what Raymond saw, fresh out of pit road. Oh my goodness. I have no words on how much he must have been panicking there. And want to get a look if we can aboard Tanner Marr. This is what Marr saw. He's the driver that spun Duda. Get up to speed. I mean, Marr got there, but he got there late, right? I mean, gosh, that's hard to say. What is easy?
It also looked like he had trouble getting up to speed as well.
This is going to bring a few drivers into pit road. In fact, Aaron Raymond with a black flag. And possibly for passing before he was permitted to. So Raymond is into pit road along with others. And we are under caution for the first time tonight. We're going to take ourselves a quick step back. When we return, Racing Action continues on Green Flight TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are moments away from getting this show back on the road, as it'll be 20 laps the distance. Ryan Wayne and Aaron Raymond, both with black flags to serve. And all of this takes us back around to race in action with 20 to go. Might as well ramble alongside George Kiravidez. Bring you all of race in action from round number 9 of the SRA NasClassic Series. First caution came out when Jim Duda got turned by Tanamar up into the field. And now, we'll see if it'll be any different on the restart. Green flag back in the air, 20 laps to go.
It's be a late race restart, and I think this is where we're going to see a lot of 3-wide action, a lot of guys trying to pass, because I think everybody's basically good on fuel till the end, it seems. A lot of the guys who came in first ended up hitting again, and it seems like everybody should be good till the end of this race, so it's time for them to just basically not worry about fuel, start getting aggressive, and we'll probably see a third line form very, very soon.
Yeah, I don't expect the last 20 laps of this race to be nearly as composed as the opening 50 or so was. Double file still towards the head of the field as Zane Bailey is pushed clear by Jim Duda. And a bit of 3 wide towards the tail of the field. As back here you got cars coming down to the lane. That is Ryan Wayne and Aaron Raymond. While the rest of the field going to get themselves back sorted. And we're single file all the way throughout.
Interested to see what the plan of action is for these guys. I mean, there's obviously still the top lane, but there's 3 cars up there, so I'm interested to see if anybody on the bottom lane sees the top lane getting a run, if they'll go up there and they'll try to run side by side. But right now it seems like a little bit of fuel saving. They may not be to the good fully, so they may have to wait a couple laps before they start pushing really hard.
Well, Bailey, Jared Duda, William McKellar, and Gudger did not come down to pit road under that caution flag, so they got about a 2-lap deficit on fuel to a full tank like the others have got. So they may very well just be trying to play it smart rather than get all that aggressive. And again, I don't think we can expect to see too much in the way of aggression. I mean, these guys have been very composed today. I think if we can expect to see the 3-wide really kick it off, honestly, deep inside 10 to go. I don't think we're going to be seeing that too much yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, when the drivers realize that it's like, you know, now or never time, then they'll start to form third lines and they'll try to go and push around continuously. But right now, the bottom line has been just single file with some people on the top, and that's how this race has gone.
So coming around with 17 to go, this time by as Ryan Wayne is out of pit road. As is Aaron Raymond, their black flags have been cleared. So they're good to run the distance now. So we got 16 and a half laps to run.
Fortunately for them, those black flags may have just killed their races. I mean, once they get caught up with this main pack, and if they go green for the rest of this race, I don't know if there's any coming back for them too. And especially unfortunate for them because they were running relatively well for most of this race and just got caught up in unfortunate incidents. Mine's starting to form a little bit. I'm wondering if they're going to try to get a run. Seems like they're just, 4 cars back, and it seems like they just cannot generate anything quite yet. But I'm interested to see if they lock in up there, get more, I guess, padding behind them. They can, run all the way up to the front.
We got a few more going up there. Kyle Wellman and Jim Duda from behind. have started to slowly pick these guys up as well, making it now, if Jim Duda can get up there, that'd be a 6-car train. That is a formidable force in these ARCA cars. And now you've got Zachary Mertz going up there from behind as well. So you got a good number of cars starting to migrate up towards that outside line. And I think you're right. I think we're going to be seeing that third groove starting to open up before too long. You see one lap car of the road that is going to get swallowed up this lap. And how about that? New fastest lap of the race for guess who? This man right here, Jim Duda.
Seems like they did give a fast repair this race because, I mean, that was a relatively hard hit that he took. So it seems like him and Aaron may use the fast repair and are back up and out on the track. So this is where everything, you know, looks to hopefully redemption for Jim Duda after that incident coming off the pit road.
14 laps to go. This time by at the line. As Paul Witt, Zane Bailey, Thomas Lane Jr., Jared Duda, and more all under a blanket. Evan Campbell also in the mix. Jeff Gilmore now setting the fastest lap of the race, and he is in fact 15 laps down. Hey, may as well go for that extra point though, right?
Yeah, I mean, anything you could take away from this race, especially being, you know, not in contention at all, if you could take away the fastest lap and take yourself home a point, you're in good hands.
Aaron Raymond swallowed up by the leaders and starting to drop down. Well, again, you see the live championship standings on the right-hand side of the screen. Zane Bailey, Dalton Kilroe, Paul Witt, the only trio within the 300-point bracket. This is after factoring in drops as well. Right now, Thomas Lane Jr., a big move with the championship, up 5 positions from 12th entering tonight.
We're almost about to hit 10 to go, so I think that I did see a little bit of 3-wide action coming up, and it seems like Aaron Raymond's trying to make that third line start to go a little bit too.
He's going to go up top with Brian Zimmerman, so 3 by 3. As they're going to open up that third lane, coming around to turn numbers 3 and 4. Got to be careful, but hey, they're making it work for now.
Definitely going to need more people to go up with him. That's 100%. That two-car tandem is not really going to help.
Sorry to cut you off. Mike Campbell and Thomas Lane Jr. both making aggressive cuts down low to shut the door on Zane Bailey. Now Campbell trying to go up high. Indecisive, though. Bad ball from Gonzalez. And they're going to gather it up. And that's going to push Campbell towards the front. Gonzalez wants to ditch him. Campbell's not letting him.
That was a really scary move, and you know, that was inches away from being something really big and probably a big crash.
11 laps to go, this time by. As, oh, trouble midfield! Big hits into the wall, one up into the air. Aaron Raymond collected, Tanner Marr collected. A big crash entering turn number 1. And the caution flag is out for the second time tonight. This one will put this race with under 10 to go.
It was inevitable. At some point it would have happened, and, well, it sets up a restart with probably 8 to go.
Brutal crash there. As the field made their way into turn number 1. And that all started with Aaron Raymond up the road. We'll take a look on exactly what brought this about. Looking like a bit of a check in the middle line. They accordion up. Jurgen to the back of Raymond, and around they go. Up into the outside wall goes Tanner Marr, kicked up skyward. Is Brian Zimmerman. Noah Swafford is in it. Larry Bell is in it. Not quite the big one, I don't think, but definitely a multi-car incident. Gonna take a couple of them down and out. Just wrong place, wrong time for most of them.
Yeah, I mean, they do have that fast repair in their pocket, so if you didn't use it already, you got to use it now. You got to get back into this race and, you know, try to build those spots that you had before, and you got to claw your way back into this one.
So expecting a good chunk to come down to pit road. As there you see Aaron Raymond just trying to limp it into the pits. After being absolutely chewed up in that massive moment. Not many cars coming down. In fact, the only cars coming in are those that are down with damage. So that does say we're good to go the distance here.
Now it all depends on the moves you make and, you know, if you can get through it. And this is where we'll see three-wide action. I personally think this is where we're going to see some three-wide action. This is where we're going to see some very aggressive racing, some blocks, some guys trying to get from the back to the front, and even probably some wrecks.
Take another look at this one from up high, and we'll see what led to that accordion up the road. That kind of kicked this whole thing off. It's going to start around Jared Duda and Aaron May. Gonzalez lifted out, and that kind of just led to everyone else checking up, and Jurgen just never got the memo. I even clocked Zachary Mertz. Yeah, Zachary Mertz caught up in that as well.
Question is, did Mertz use his fast repair? Because if he did already, that wreck will probably take him out of the race.
And you see Aaron Raymond just struggling to limp that car around, just bouncing off the walls, trying to avoid taking a tow because of how devastatingly slow that is, but no way to turn the car, so he kind of just had to rebound off of every wall until he found an opening. I'm not a fan of this, by the way, because this makes him a major hazard to everyone around him. And that is unacceptable, if you ask me. I mean, just stop the car and take a tow. Come on.
I feel like, I mean,
that is just reckless.
That may be looked at just for...
I think deservedly so. That is... There's no excuse for that. I mean, if you're by yourself, that's one thing, but he's got like a bunch of other cars all around him trying to pass him, and they're having to slow down instead of catching the field because they don't know where he's going to go next.
And the unfortunate thing is if you do, as a damaged race car, hit another, you know, driver and wreck their car, you make them use their fast repair, they're not going to be very happy with you, and, you know, they'll take that up in the protest portion. And I've learned the hard way, if you can't drive a damaged car, just tow. Just tow, or if you can park it and it's too damaged to go back on the track, just park it. It's not worth ruining somebody else's race. Trying to, you know, I guess go for points.
It's not even worth ruining your own race. I mean, how much more damage do you think you dealt to that car by doing that? Because it's not nothing.
Yeah. When I started iRacing, I took a damaged race car out onto Michigan, which the steering was absolutely blown out. It was the next gens. I hit the grass, letting the leaders by, and the car ended up napping on me, and I went right into the leaders. It was a very interesting situation after that. I almost got banned from that league, but I got saved by a couple people. So, but now I've learned my lesson.
Thomas Lane Jr. leading the way. Zane Bailey to his outside. It is a Ford 1, 2, 3, 4. And in fact, it's an all Ford top 10, save for Gonzalez. What do you think? Think we go to the end from here, or are we not done having cautions yet?
and go to the end, because that would be a great race to the finish. But knowing in my gut feeling is 1 or 2 more wrecks. One of them that will send us to overtime, most likely.
Pace car is off. Thomas Lane Jr. leads the way. Zane Bailey with him. As we're going to work into turn numbers, well, turn number none, because it's the tri-oval. Green flag is back in the air, and race in action resumes. Seven laps to go.
Interested to see when they form the third line, because, I mean, if you form the third line, you got to go with other people, and you got to do it very, very early.
Well, there's Tanner Marr looking to open up the third groove. Ryan Wayne going to go with him. Ryan Zimmerman going to go with him. While Zane Bailey trying to manage both bottom and top by keeping Lane and Campbell at bay. That's not something he can do for very long. And look at how many cars are starting to go 3 wide up high.
Yep, those are the moves you need to make, especially if you're back in the pack. You need to make those moves just to get up to the front. And a lot of them are going. And there's Gudger going up to the high line. Jared Duda falls behind him. Now this is where we're going to see the 3x3 racing.
Oh boy. And it's not organized 3x3 either, mind you. This is just chaos. None of the lines are really gathered up. Now we're starting to get some order here. I'm worried about Gonzalez's blinking in the middle of this field. I really am. But for now, they're keeping it straight. Gudger and Jared Duda are going to jump down low. And they'll look to pick up Campbell. Look at the 2-car breakaway up front.
That's also going to be an issue, him blinking in and out, because Aaron May's got to push him. That's the only way that middle line will stay afloat, and that blinking really doesn't help, and will eventually cause a wreck if you try to bump a blinking, or if you try to bump trap a blinking car.
5 laps the distance. Gudger, Duda, Wellman, Bailey. Oh boy, I thought Zimmerman just got turned by Marr. We're all good though. Aaron Raymond going to now look to lead the third groove up high. But we're in that crunch time, Friday. We're in that moment like you described earlier where drivers are getting desperate because they know if they don't make that move now, they're not going to have time to do it later.
That's 100% the case, and now you see Luigi Gonzalez move up to the top line, trying to get back to where he was in the front, but that blinking is going to
look out! Jared Duda spun to the inside, tumbling as well. Huge crash as he flies back up onto the racetrack. Somehow no caution for that. No idea how. That is insanity. That IRC will not throw yellow for that with the car stopped there. Green flag still in the air. We'll look at that in a moment, but a vicious crash on the front straightaway as Zimmerman, Marr, Willman, 1, 2, 3 up front. Oh, look out! Dodger spun under the apron. He's going to gather it up.
Yeah, this is where everything's going to get weird. I mean, when you have cars trying to push so hard, they're spinning on the apron and flipping over in the tri-oval. I mean, oh man, this is where it gets exciting.
Aaron Raymond looking for the inside line. He was at one point opening up a third groove. Now he's trying to go to the point down low. He's pushed by Campbell. Zimmerman up high, shoved by Tanner Marr. Trying to force an issue to get himself clear. Coming to 2 to go this time by. Brian Zimmerman continues to lead the way.
Forming in the back, and then there's a high line as well. It's going to get very interesting. some of these guys just want to make it to the white flag. So if there's no caution if they wreck, but will they make it to the white flag?
That is a very big if right now. Gonzalez makes an aggressive look up high, nearly hooks Kyle Wellman. 2 laps to go, this time by Aaron Raymond leading the way. Campbell in second. It's really my big concern deeper the field here if we're going to get that caution that forces this race into overtime.
The lines are kind of dying out. We have that bottom line that's formed now. The 12 to that outside middle line, followed by Dalton Kilrow, who's looking for those points to try to pass Zane Bailey, and he's in a good position to take the white flag.
Mark Arthur will lead the way as it comes through turn number, I guess you could call it 5 in the tri-oval. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Crash, trouble, wrecking big time, coming down to the turn number 1. Kolmensberger hard into the wall. We'll keep it green. Whatever happens, happens. It's the white flag lap. Arthur abandons Kilrow. He's going to jump down in front of Duda. Jim's out having it. Jim 3 wide for the lead. Jim Duda's turn into the outside wall. It's chaos. It's pandemonium. The field falls apart on the back straightaway. It's not over yet, though. Campbell and Arthur right neck and neck. Aaron Raymond in front of them. Who does Raymond help to win? Raymond's a lap down. Campbell trying to hold on. Arthur up high. Kilrow up high. Coming down for the checker flag. This time by Mark Arthur with the lead. Dalton Kilrow won't be able to get there, I don't think. He will not. Mark Arthur hangs on to win at Talladega. And a wild finish to close things out. Disaster on the back straightaway. We'll take a look first on what happened. This is what happened to Jim Duda here on the final lap. This is coming to the back straightaway, and I mean, you'll see, just got a bad bump from Aaron Raymond. It fell apart. Huge hit from Larry Bell. Absolutely smoked the 053. Just a wallop of a crash. Several cars rebounding off the inside wall as well, including Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez. Went down, actually kept it off the inside wall. McKellar and co. did not. Mark Arthur burning it down to the front straightaway at the end of a tremendous crash. Coming down to it, and we'll find out what happened to Jared Duda next as Arthur celebrates.
This finish has huge implications to the points now, too, because
it does.
Zane Bailey caught up in that wreck and Kilrow finishing second.
Good God. That is one of the most brutal crashes we have seen all year on Green Flag TV. Watch this again here as Jared Duda comes off of turn 4. A bad bump from Kyle Wellman, going to spin him to the inside, slams into the wall, digs in and goes tumbling about 5 or 6 times before slamming down on all 4 wheels. Vicious, vicious crash, and all of that will take us to the close of racing action here this afternoon. We'll look to take a rundown of your official post-race results. It is Arthur taking home a win over Dalton Kilrow, Mike Campbell in 3rd, Thomas Lane Jr. in 4th, Paul Witt closes out 5th, with May, Roy, Gonzalez, Crawford, and Zimmerman rounding out the top 10. From there, Willie McKellar caught up in the crash on the back straightaway. Down in 11th with Gudger in 12th, Berard, Wellman, Burke, Bailey, Kolmensberger, Bell, Marr, and Jim Duda. Close out the top 20 with Jim Duda failing to finish this race. James Yerger was in 21st, Jared Dude on 22nd, Graham in 23rd, Ryan Wayne 24th, Swafford, Gilmore, Dudley, Mertz, Gibson, Van Leer close out the field this afternoon. Well, a brutal way to close out racing action here tonight, as we will look to get a chit-chat up in here with the drivers that finished this race up on top. As it is going to be Mark Arthur, the driver of the number 12, who will come home number 1 this afternoon. No sign of Arthur yet. We'll, and just in time, as a matter of fact, we'll bring in your race winner. Well, Mark, a wild way to close out racing action here this afternoon. Usually being in the lead on the final lap here at Talladega tends to be a great way to lose the race. Not if you're you, apparently, as you pull off the win. Talk us through those closing 5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that wouldn't happen with Duda there. I knew he had a pretty rough couple laps, a few laps back, but I mean, he had to run, and I went to block it, and then he shot it down there, and he was below the yellow, and I tried to hold my line there to hold him down there, and then I guess he went to come back up and went across my nose and spun it up to the wall. I hate it for him, but I wasn't trying to wreck him.
Well, all things considered, you still walk away with a race win here this afternoon. Unfortunately, time for us a bit short here this afternoon, so I'll get straight through to the point. What do you reckon next week is going to hold for you? Because, I mean, this championship is continuing to pick up, and well, you still find yourself having had some good runs this season.
What is next week's race?
That would be Watkins Glen.
I'm okay at Watkins Glen. I'm not a road course guy. I'm more of a short track, flat track guy, but I mean, I'll be okay. I'll hold my own there, but I won't be amazing. But I know you're in a hurry, so I like to thank Dalton for pushing me to the win, and my mom and sister for watching the races each week.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck. We go racing next week in upstate New York. Congratulations on taking home number 1, and we will see you when we go racing next week in New York.
All right, appreciate you guys broadcasting and all the admins for putting it on too. Thanks, Noah.
Thank you as well. Mark Arthur comes home number 1 this afternoon. We'll bring down Dalton Kilwer, the driver that pushed Mark Arthur to a win. Dalton, you helped out Mark a lot. I think he owes you a beer after this one. You opted not to go for the win yourself. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, to be honest, I didn't really have enough of a run to, do something with Mark. But, after the way this whole race played out and some of the comments that were being made by some of the drivers, we figured, it's time to go. We'll just go for it. And we're just glad we were able to get up to the front and, keep the car clean enough to where we didn't have to worry about anybody else doing anything stupid. Sure enough, that happened on the last lap, and we were able to just keep the car going straight. And I saw an opportunity to help my teammate rather than try to be selfish, and I figured, hey, if we finish 1-2, still a good points night for me, and I don't feel like as much of a POS, so we'll take it and move on to, I don't even know where we're at next week, but
It'll be the Glen.
Oh God. Oh no.
Not a fan, I'm assuming.
I am sick of road racing, Nolan, okay? I have done too much of it over the last 3 weeks. Between Nürburgring, between Le Mans, between Sonoma.
Well, think
Get
about
me
it.
out of there.
Think about it glass half full. In theory, you should be primed to have a good race there because you'd be experienced, right?
When my left foot's about to fall off my body and I can't brake, it's not going to be a good finish.
Well, who knows? It may be. I mean, you've proven strength on the road courses before. We'll see if it'll be another one next week. Well, congratulations on number 2, and we'll see you in upstate New York.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Dalton Kilwer comes on number 2 this afternoon, and now we'll bring up Mike Campbell, the driver of the number 71, comes home 3rd this afternoon for the Tiger Town Trucking LLC, number 71 Mustang. Mike, you were kind of right in the middle of all of that carnage there over the closing 5 laps. You saw one by one leaders get to the front and then be spun out by one situation or another. Kind of talks to your perspective on it.
Well, I was just trying to hold my my position there, just and then I think I was in the second lane, and I was like, I'm gonna stay here when we were 3 wide, and then we were pulling away from that bottom lane, and then when the guys on the top lane got around me, they dove down, so I dove down to follow them, and then that was working out pretty well. And then Raymond hopped up there in front of me, following the pack around, and then I tried to stay with him, pushing him around. I think he may have got back on the lead lap doing that, but I think for him for doing that, because it kept me up there. And then when the 12 got to my right rear, in the 12 and the 41, they sucked the air right off my car, and it just like I was hitting the brakes, but I wasn't hitting the brakes, and it just kept pulling back and back, and they just went right around me. But it was a lot of fun.
We're able to come home number 3 this afternoon with the best finish I think you've had so far all season long, and in fact for quite some time, as a matter of fact. Do you reckon we'll be seeing you on the podium at any more throughout the course of the season?
I'm hoping so. This is my first time up here in the booth with you guys, and that's what I was telling Thomas. I was like, first time I get to talk with these guys, so yeah, hopefully I can be back up in here more.
Well, it's always good to be able to talk to somebody new up here rather than the usual suspects every week. And, hey, if that comes from a Super Speedway chaos like we had tonight, I'm all for it. Mike, thanks for joining us up here this afternoon, and we'll wish you the best of luck next week in upstate New York.
All right, thank you.
Mike Campbell comes home number 3 this afternoon. And, well, George, that is going to about do it for our show here this afternoon. A wild way to close things out. And while we take a look at the championship standings leaving tonight, Dalton Kilroe with that run, jumping up top as Zane Bailey got caught up in that. How quickly things can change after Bailey was looking to be extending his lead throughout most of the night until that last lap.
Yeah, it changed really quick. And even we look at the win, Mark Arthur with the win puts him at 272. So he's still in that fight. Just like I said before, those guys with good finishes could still be in the fight for the championship here as well.
All of that and more still to come on Green Flag TV. Before we get to all of that, though, of course, more racing action coming on up here over the next week or so. We'll look over what all is yet to come next week. We'll start off with a triple header tomorrow with the Classic IndyCar Series with their final race at the Richmond Raceway before the summer break, alongside the Blaze Battles ARCA Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the For the Boys Racing League kicking off Car of Tomorrow racing at Daytona International Speedway on Sunday night. High Tide Racing League is out at Homestead for race number 11 with the Global IndyCar Challenge across the pond in Imola, alongside the PSR Sim Expo Truck Series over at Daytona. That is then followed up by the Average Joe Sim Racing League for race 7 at the Dover Motor Speedway. And then, of course, cannot forget the fact that we've got the Volt Racing League Lightning Series also at Homestead Miami Speedway coming on up in 2 weeks on Friday as well. In that case, well, next race up on Saturday will not be SRA. It'll be the FTR Events GT Super Cup. The Silverstone Circuit will play host to a 4-hour endurance race, and then we'll have more racing action for you coming on up this next Saturday at Watkins Glen International. If you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, feel free to check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. In the meantime, my name is Ola Ramble alongside George Karafides. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you all when we go racing next week in upstate New York.